she's had to endure.
And us kids would be made to do things with the adults and the animals. And then a sacrifice would happen.
The sacrifice? Were these animal sacrifices?
Animals and people.
On what scale do you think this was happening?
Enormous. Far beyond what we've ever heard of here before.
Teresa's mother, Bridget.
You're talking about mass murder?
Yes. On a scale that this country's never heard of before.
But that is literally the realm of technology that they have. They're fucking demons, dude. They got that type of technology. They use black magic. They use the blood of innocents to do their black magic and their rituals and stuff like that. Anyways, I know, yeah, you can call me completely fucking nuts. Don't worry about that paragraph. It's just something for you to think about. Because they do have time travel technology. They have mind control. They absolutely do have mind control. They have mind control. They can read your mind.
This is the story of a 30-year search by U.S. intelligence agencies to perfect mind control. Some of those engaged in that search have agreed to talk about it for the first time.
Tonight, we are taking you inside the CIA's top-secret mind control program called MKUltra. The program, born in the Cold War, built on the idea that a human being could be bent, broken, or steered with the right drug, the right fear, the right push.
Much like a robot's network of wires transmitting signals between sensors, processors, and motors, our nervous system also has a similar setup. Signals are sent from our sensory organs to the brain and finally get actuated in the muscles. To understand how we can control something with our mind, we need to comprehend brain signals, also known as mind reading. This mind reading is a fundamental aspect of being able to control or manipulate those signals.
2018, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency could also be used by DARPA as a new form of mind control. Like their counterparts at the CIA, DARPA-funded researchers have spent decades investigating how the human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
It could be 1,000 things that affect brain chemistry: a tuned microwave beam, gamma radiation, a radio signal.
Which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
To read and write to human brains. Maybe the next step is we can send instructions and information to an actual person from a distance with this kind of technology to let another person control their actions.
In the near future, DARPA may possess the technology to remotely control the human mind. According to some scientists, a more permanent kind of mind control technology is looming, and it involves modifying the human brain by altering the human body's DNA.
The future of mind control, and the future being right now because these experiments are being done, is using gene editing tools. And so you take the CRISPR that you want to use, and you put these pieces together that can be injected and insert this DNA to certain areas of the brain so that we can change brain cells and turn you into something you wouldn't otherwise be. So in this way, gene editing technologies like CRISPR really form a definite basis for future mind control.
Because the pineal gland is a receiver, a frequency receiver, is the third eye. It has rods and cones, just like the retina in our eyes has rods and cones. It receives information and frequencies and sound and resonance, and it should allow us to communicate telepathically. It should allow us all the benefits of ESP. It should connect us to all the knowledge and information in the resonance field and the morphogenetic field.
They absolutely do have mind control. They have mind control. They can read your mind. They can, mind control is an interesting thing because I've been a victim of mind control many times, and I've built somewhat of a blocker in my head, like a firewall, if you will, that prevents them from completely controlling me. But there have been times, especially if I'm really drunk, that they can fuck with me. And I've actually, I did this one video, I was real drunk, and I was like, you guys want to see something crazy? Because I knew what was going to happen. Like, subconsciously, I knew what was going to happen. So I was already really fucking, like, literally fucking sheets to the wind, fucking drunk. And I was like, I made this video. I was like, you guys want, I'll put it up here. I was like, you guys want to see something crazy? And I mean, I knew what was going to happen. So then I drank, and I fucking went through this thing, and I was like, fucking, I am the devil. That's all this is going to be for the rest of the night. Me getting drunk, going. And like, I remember there was this one YouTuber that responded to that video. She's like, that was mind control. She's like, it's clear as day. Like, she can see them fucking with me. So yeah, they got technology that you cannot believe. They have mind control technology. They can read your mind. You hear this thing, this AI neural processing unit? Dude, they want to be able to read everyone's mind on the planet in real time to know what everyone's doing and thinking at all times.
I think mind control sounds crazy to people, but it's not. But then once you start to notice it, you can't unsee it. When I first heard of Monarch, by the way, it's part of MK Ultra and all that other shit.
And they're getting close to that type level of control. Yeah, dude, they know where everyone is all the time. They know who you are, with what you're watching, your political posts and what you're thinking. And they don't pinpoint know what each and every single human on this planet is thinking. Targeted individuals like me, yeah, they have the ability to, they've already set up networks to basically monitor me 24/7. I'm pinned down in this apartment. I'm literally like a prisoner, relatively free range prisoner. The only time I leave is literally to go get supplies. And that's about it. And so I'm basically trapped in this apartment for over 15 years, pinned down. So they know absolutely everything I do. They can read my mind. They've even played games with me. Like there was this, I'm not going to get into the details, but they did this thing where like, we can read your mind, da 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 da. And I was like, no, you can't. And they're like, yes, you can. Yes, we can. And I was like, what am I thinking? And they're like, you're thinking this, you're thinking that, you're thinking that. I was like, there's no way they could have. It's real, dude. People have said like they open their cell phone and they're thinking about something and like it pops up.
You had it read your mind, your phone yet?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I didn't even, okay. A lot of people have had that happen. They think of the thing and it pops up on their phone. Yeah. I've had the talking about something and it popped up.
Yep.
That's been around a while.
Yes, that's been around a while.
But a bunch of people like, I think, so you know about the mind reading headphones?
Yeah, dude. They got that shit, dude. They call it neural processing unit for a reason, dude. Neural processing unit. They can read your fucking mind now. And they're implementing this to not just be able to read targeted individuals' mind and key, personnel, but like everyone, everywhere, all the time. They know everything everyone is doing and thinking. And then based on that, they're gonna manage the population, manage the herd. All right. So if I tell you that the reason babies are put into a silver bowl filled with quote unquote holy water to quote unquote bless them, well, if I was to tell you that things like that are not what they seem, and they can literally see a person's future and see if they will become a problem. I know, I sound completely fucking nuts, but things like that are not as far-fetched as you might think. Exactly. Anyways, so when I started to work on exposing Epstein and his network of child traffickers and child murderers, I know for sure it cut him deeply. It upset him. And because you see, he was a fan of sorts of mine. Dude, I could tell you the highest levels of government, like I'm talking the very top of what we know in the public sector as government officials, they know who I am. Corporate, same thing. Some of the most successful and most powerful corporate people in the world, they know who I am. Okay? The federal government, I'm probably so high up on the federal government's terror, murder, rapist watch list. In fact, I know for sure that even the list that I exist in is classified. So most government people don't actually know about me. And even most government law enforcement isn't actually privy to everything that they've been doing and collecting on me since I was at least 18 years old. I know for sure I've been on the terrorist list since I was at least 18 years old. Dude, they fucking know me. The anti-gravity stuff I was doing, exposing the secrets behind the F-32 or the F-22 and the F-35. That shit pissed them off so bad, dude. I stopped posting about that shit because it was like, okay, okay, fine. How do you travel faster than light? Very easily. Very, very fucking easily. Just like I said, if you have a cell phone, a modern cell phone, and a microwave oven, I won't say any more, but yeah, dude. Time travel, free energy technology, easy shit, dude. They're finding in these the Aztec Mayan people and these old ancient sites and stuff, like the most revered holy of holy sites where you have to be like the high priest and go into this one place, and it's like they're finding pools of mercury. And they're like, what's the mercury for? And they have like literally depiction of a UFO that crashed. And then they have a puddle of mercury, and they're like, "What's the mercury for?" Da 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 da. Free energy, faster than light travel, dude. Aliens don't exist. Life, like I saw this one Catholic priest literally a couple days ago. He's like, everywhere we look, the universe is completely sterile, dude.
And I think what we're discovering is that other than here, the universe is sterile.
First of all, if you know anything about the Catholic Church, dude, there's fucking mass graves of babies, and there's mass graves of babies and children's bodies being found everywhere the Catholic Church is involved. You're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of bones of children being found wherever the Catholic Church is involved, dude. They found a soccer field, dude. They found a soccer field literally littered with children's bones.
A so-called Angels Plot, a place to commemorate the children who died in the home.
Turned over the sod and I just noticed lots of small bones. Turned over the sod and I just noticed lots of small bones. Turned over the sod and I just noticed lots of small bones.
The nuns claim 269 babies died here, the last in 1994. Yet official records say the actual figure is over 1,000. So where are they? We've established the existence of a burial pit for unbaptised children whose deaths aren't recorded anywhere, and it's believed a sewage tank has been laid in the Angels Plot as well. It's an echo of what happened at Tuam.
A mass grave containing the remains of babies and young children has been found at a former Catholic orphanage in Ireland. The finding supports a local historian's efforts to trace the fates of 800 children who died at the facility. The Irish government formed a commission in 2014 to investigate deaths at the Sun Succor's mother and baby home in County Galway. The children who died were aged between 35 weeks and 3 years.
A Canadian Indigenous group says it found the unmarked graves of more than 700 people at a Catholic residential school in Saskatchewan this week. Many of the remains are believed to be those of children.
And there's one quick 5-second report of it in the news. Oh yeah, we found the soccer field and we turned over the grass and it was like, we found children's bones everywhere. And not only that, they had a pit. And inside that pit, like a giant pit at one end of the field, inside the pit was literally completely full to the brim with children's bones. Oh yeah, so talk about dead children and talk about pedophilia. You know the two things Epstein's associated with, dead children and pedophilia and secret societies. Dude, if you look up Catholic Church sex abuse cases,
there are new findings of sexual abuse of children by Catholic priests, this time in Pennsylvania.
For centuries, Mexicans have been putting their trust in the leaders of the Catholic Church. But it was one of its most popular and powerful priests, Father Marcial Maciel, who church authorities say preyed on young seminarians and children. As a young scholar in the Vatican, Jose Barba became one of Maciel's youngest victims. At the time, he says he didn't question Maciel because he was a fervent believer in the Word of God and that of his superiors.
I thought that part of the problem was in me because I resisted submitting myself to God's will.
Church authorities in Mexico now admit that over a 40-year period, Maciel abused nearly 200 victims, including 2 of his own children. Barba and 7 other alleged victims brought their cases to the Vatican. The Catholic Church in Mexico acknowledged that not only Maciel but many other priests had committed abuses.
Some dishonest and criminal priests have irreparably damaged innocent children with their abominable acts. They have betrayed their sacred ministry and thrown mud over the Catholic Church.
Dude, if you look up Catholic Church sex abuse cases, now look, if you're a priest and there's like a 15, 16-year-old girl and she's coming through her thing and her parents are like, look, you know, she's coming through this thing, she's in heat, you know, can you help her?
The average age of sexual initiation for men is 16 years old, and for women it is 15 years old.
15?
15 and no husband. You must put those birthing hips to good use at once, lest your womb shrivel up and die.
You're weird.
If you're a priest and there's like a 15, 16-year-old girl and she's coming through her thing and her parents are like, look, you know, she's coming through this thing, she's in heat, you know, can you help her? You know what I mean? There's nothing more innocent than that. I'll be honest with you. I know, oh my God, you're a pedophile, blah, 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 blah. Come on, dude. But that's not what's happening. Like, you're talking about priests raping little boys in the butt, 10-year-old boys, like having anal sex with them.
Pope Francis on Saturday accepted the resignation of Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, one of the U.S. Catholic Church's most prominent figures who's been at the center of a widening sexual abuse scandal. Last month, American church officials said allegations that he sexually abused a 16-year-old boy almost 50 years ago were credible and substantiated. Since then, another minor has come forward claiming McCarrick abused him when he was 11 years old, and several men alleged McCarrick forced them to sleep with him at a beach house in New Jersey when they were adult seminarians studying for the priesthood. His sudden fall from grace stunned the American church because he was a widely respected leader for decades and a confidant of popes and presidents. McCarrick says he has absolutely no recollection of the alleged abuse of the teenager 50 years ago, but has not commented on the other allegations.
Archbishop, you knew it was a crime for an adult to engage in sex with a kid.
I'm not sure whether I knew it was a crime or not. I understand today it's a crime.
One priest so violently raped a young boy that he had to get treatment for his back injuries as a result of that abuse, treatment that involved opioid painkillers that ultimately he got hooked on and died from.
But that's not what's happening. Like, you're talking about priests raping little boys in the butt, 10-year-old boys, like having anal sex with them and stuff like that. And not just one or two cases, not just 10 priests, like literally hundreds of priests from each district, like hundreds and hundreds of priests from each district are sodomizing and raping these little children. And it's like been going on for literally centuries.
Begin here with what appears to be the largest abuse scandal to shake the American Catholic Church yet. After a 2-year investigation, a Pennsylvania grand jury today alleged decades of abuse of children by more than 300 men described as predator priests. It detailed the accounts of more than 1,000 children, but said there are likely thousands more victims. And the report says church leaders protected the priests in a cover-up that went all the way to the Vatican. Nikki Battiste is in Harrisburg.
Priests were raping little boys and girls, and the men of God who were responsible for them not only did nothing, they hid it all for decades.
We are joined now by Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro.
23 grand jurors met for 2 years in Pennsylvania. They unearthed over 301 predator priests, more than 1,000 victims, children in Pennsylvania. They found that there was not only widespread sexual abuse, rape of children, but they found that there was a systematic cover-up that went all the way to the Vatican. It's horrifying to think what these men of God did to these children, and then to have the cover-up that quite literally was very purposeful. They were doing it to shield these predator priests from law enforcement.
And you're wondering, well, okay, so they have these little kids that are getting ass raped by the priests, the Catholic priests, and then they're finding mass graves of children, and like the Epstein files and like the occult and all this other stuff. It's like, what's going on here, guys? Like, but the priests are like against demons. Like, if you were a demon, would you take over a church and convert all your priests into demons?
Do you remember the stories we used to tell each other in the dormitory at night? Stories of devils that came in the darkness.
Shouldn't be talking about such things here.
True. The time for talk is over.
Don't drink too deeply, little friend. Make her into another one like yourself.
Don't you want some?
Oh yeah, God wants you to give us your children. Don't worry about them getting ass raped. They're going to be gone soon enough. They're going to be with God soon.
Some of the findings are quite staggering. They use the word endemic to talk about the rape and abuse of Irish boys in Christian Brother-run orphanages and industrial schools. These would be institutions.
I know I sound fucking disgusting and dark, but that's literally that's what's happening, and nobody's talking about it. Like, this one lady's like telling people that they're finding fields and fields of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dead children that literally were like And there was a survivor. And they're like, oh, well, they could have all died during like some pandemic or something like that, or some like, disease came to, no. He's like, the survivor's like, yeah, friends would just disappear. And we would like, where did they go? And nobody would say where they went. And like, just like they were being picked off in the school that he was in.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is apologizing to Indigenous Canadians after the remains of more than 200 Indigenous children were found last week. Some were as young as 3. Many from Indigenous communities gathered this week to honor the lives lost. The remains were discovered in Kamloops, British Columbia, at what was once Canada's largest residential school for Indigenous children. Our national correspondent Jerika Duncan spoke with a survivor. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning. This is such a dark chapter of history for Canada that needs to be told. The Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia used to have at least 51 confirmed deaths on its official record. Well, sadly, one survivor told us he was not surprised to find out at least 215 more students were found buried there.
Sometimes kids would not show up in classroom. They would disappear for the next day, and we knew that they were gone, but we didn't know where they were gone.
Gary Gottfriedson is a survivor of the Kamloops Indian Residential School. He's among the thousands of Indigenous peoples legally mandated by the Canadian government to attend such institutions. They were set up in the late 1800s and often operated by the Catholic Church.
Just like they were being picked off in the school that he was in. Friends would just like not show up for class and disappear. And we didn't know where they go. Now they're finding in the same school that he was at, they're finding their dead children's bones all around the schoolyard. And like there's even reports that the children were being forced to dig their own grave.
Children who had disappeared, in some cases, graves that they had been compelled to help dig.
Children as young as 6 years old were forced in the middle of the night to go dig graves for other children. Now, if that is true, that is absolutely horrifying. But that begs a lot of questions. Why would they be digging graves in the middle of the night? Why would they be forcing kids to dig graves? This sounds like utter villainy. So if it is true, it's absolutely staggering.
And like there's even reports that the children were being forced to dig their own grave, and then late at night the demon would come out, turn them into a pile of fucking skull and bones, deposit them into the grave, and cover them up. They're picking off the children at schools. And like nobody's talking about this.
To find all of these missing children, because we knew that 3,000 to 4,000 was a very conservative estimate. And now what we are finding, some are calling it a discovery. What I've said repeatedly is no, it's an affirmation. It's a validation of everything that we have been told over and over again. And for whatever reason, we've chosen not to listen until now.
Like, it's like in the news. It's like literally mainstream news. And it's like, even the lady who's doing the investigation is like, for some reason, nobody wants to fucking listen to the fact that they're finding fucking, forget about the child pedophilia in the Catholic Church. What about the fucking mass graves of babies and children all the way in the Vatican? They found fucking buckets full of dead children's bones in the Vatican. And like, quote, I quote, in a location that was off limits to the public.
That mystery at the Vatican. What happened to that 15-year-old daughter of a Vatican worker who vanished? A tip led her family and authorities to a Vatican City property. And today, thousands of unmarked bones were recovered underground. ABC's Will Reeve is at the Vatican.
Tonight, new clues in the mysterious disappearance of a teenage Italian girl.
Numero così enorme.
A forensics expert saying thousands of bones found, all underneath a Vatican college. Those experts now working to determine if the bones could also include those of Emanuela Orlandi. Orlandi's family believes the Vatican has not revealed everything it knows. But in the process, Vatican officials found remains nearby. The big question tonight, whose bones are these? Orlandi family supporters vowing tonight they will not be satisfied until there are answers.
The Vatican has long insisted it had nothing to do with the disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi, but if these bones turn out to be her, it faces a difficult task in explaining how they got there in an area off limits to the public. Tom?